All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another day. We've got fraction word problems today. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, fraction word problems, especially multiplying and dividing, are actually the hardest type of word problems that you do with fractions. So we haven't done fractions yet, or we haven't done word problems. I'm sorry, we haven't done word problems in our class yet, so we're going to need a couple things today. All right, first thing you're going to need is you're going to actually need graphic organizer number 4. Now this graphic organizer is not just for fractions, it's for fractions, decimals, it's for everything that we do. We're going to be doing all kinds of things throughout the year. This is another one just like your hundreds chart that you absolutely must have at all times. All right, so put this one in your binder. It is hole punched for you already, but you need to grab this one, graphic organizer number 4. You're also going to need worksheet number 8 for this video. So you need worksheet number 8, graphic organizer number 4. You need to pause the video and get those things before I continue. So do those now. Literally, guys, do it now. Okay. Your objective for this video is, as a student, you should be able to multiply and divide mixed numbers in word problems. So some of these will be just fractions, some will be mixed numbers, but the reality is we want to be able to multiply and divide word problems and identify which operation you need to do. We're going to get started very quickly. All right. Okay, so word problems. These are the ones that we're going to work with the most when we talk about multiplying and dividing fractions. So you need to make sure that all 8 of these are actually on your list. For example, of, multiplied, times, and in all. And then for dividing, we have divided, split equally, cutting, and in each. Now, make sure you understand that that is not just each, it's in each. Okay, that's really important. And then I have 2 of them that are starred, in each and of, and those are because the word of or each could be a trick, all right, because there's a lot of times there's other words involved. So these problems, you should always look for a second keyword, and if there's not another keyword, then it's generally those 2. And a big thing with multiplying and dividing fractions is it's kind of hard to tell the difference sometimes. So ask yourself, does my answer make sense? Because sometimes if you have 4 cups of flour and you're going to make 10 batches of cookies, and you want to know how much each batch is going to take, right? You're not going to multiply those together. If you get 40 cups of flour, that doesn't make sense if you only have 4. So we got to just make sure that we're using the correct terminology, and we got to make sure that our number actually makes sense. So we're going to get started. Here's example number 1. It says Manny Muscle's Gourmet Pizza Restaurant had 4/5 gallon of pizza sauce left at the end of the evening and divided it equally among 8 pizzas. How much sauce did they put on each pizza? Now, I personally feel like this one's very easy. Okay, we do have some numbers. We've got 4/5 and we have 8. Those are our 2 numbers inside here. All right, but it does give us some wonderful hints and clues. It does have this word of, but I told you got to be careful with of, right? Because there could be another word that gives it away, and there is. It's simply this one right here, which is divided equally. Anytime you divide something equally, okay, you're going to be dividing, or anytime you split something equally, you're dividing. Now, the question is, which one comes first? A lot of people go, oh, well, the biggest number comes first. Well, not in this particular case. It's what you have that is going to be divided. So what we have in this particular case is 4/5 of a gallon, and we're going to divide that by 8. So we have 4/5, and we're going to divide by 8. Okay, we first need to change that 8, that whole number, into a fraction, so it would be like this. Then we're going to keep change and flip, which would be 4/5 times 1/8, and we're going to go ahead and pre-simplify since we can. 4 and 8 have a common factor. The common factor is 4. How many 4s are in 4? 1. How many 4s are in 8? And that's 2. There's nothing else I can pre-simplify. Those are both prime numbers at the bottom, and 1s, are just 1s. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 5 times 2 is 10. Our answer is 1/10, but we need to make sure that we use the correct label. And it says how much sauce? Well, how was sauce measured? In this particular question, it was measured in gallons. So it's 1/10 of a gallon of sauce. And that is per pizza. Okay, so 1/10 of a gallon of sauce, which, hey, I don't know if that's a lot or not. Let's move on. Leon's restaurant bought 9 1/3 pounds of onions. Okay, we do have a number in there that we know we're going to work with, right? We have 9 1/3. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, and that is pounds, so I know what my label might be, of onions. the restaurant bought 8 times. Well, that pretty much tells me there's another number and times. 8 times as much potatoes as onions. How many pounds of potatoes did the restaurant buy? It says how many pounds, so I know my label at the end is going to be in pounds. I know that it's going to be pounds because it tells you, so it's going to be pounds of potatoes. I know that's what it's going to be because it says it in my question right there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and multiply because the word times. All right, so 9 1/3 times 8. Now, what do I need to do? Well, there's a couple things. Number one, I got to make that whole number into a fraction because we're multiplying fractions, so I do that. Second thing I need to go ahead and do is I need to go ahead and convert my mixed number to an improper fraction. So 3 times 9 is 27 plus 1 is 28. So we have 28 over 3 times 8 over 1. Yuck. Nothing can be pre-simplified in this one. That stinks. So you're going to have to do 28 times 8 and over 3. So we're going to go ahead and put 28 times 8, which is going to be 226. No, sorry, 228. No, sorry, double check it. 28 times 8. If you don't know, you do it over here. Okay, we got 4, 6, 16 plus 6 is 22, 224. There we go. Mr. Williams is making mistakes, but he double checked himself. 224 divided by 3 because it's an improper fraction, so let's go ahead and do that. 224 divided by 3. Okay, and 3 goes into, I'm going to erase this so I have some room. 3 goes into 2 0 times, but it does go into 22 7 times. 7 times 3 is 21. We subtract, we get 14. How many times does 3 go into 14? Well, that would be 4. 4 times 3 is 12. We subtract, we get 2 left over. Our answer is 74, and I'm going to erase some stuff. Okay, you should always show your work. 74 and 2/3 pounds of potatoes, and this is my answer, 74 and 2/3 pounds of potatoes. That is a lot of pounds of potatoes. Whew, for a restaurant. All right, let's move on. Example number 3, we're going to go a little bit faster. Claudio had 2/3 cup of powdered sugar. He sprinkles 3/4 of the powdered sugar, notice it says of the powdered sugar, onto a plate of brownies and sprinkles the rest onto a plate of lemon cookies. How much sugar does Claudio sprinkle on the brownies? All right. You should probably read this one 2 more times. Pause the video and read it very closely. Literally, do it now. All right, now if you've done that, you notice that it never talks about lemon cookies again. We don't really care about the lemon cookies. And 2, there is the word of, and there's no other indicative word. Okay, and it says 3/4 of the powdered sugar. Well, how much powdered sugar do we have? Well, we have 2/3. So we've got 2/3, and this time we're going to be multiplying because of that word of. Of means multiply. When you multiply, you're going to go ahead and pre-simplify if you can. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do that right now. We're going to pre-simplify. 3 and 3 go together. There's a common factor of 3. How many 3's are in 3? 1. How many 3's are in 3 is 1. We can also pre-simplify the 2 and the 4. The common factor for 2 and 4 is 2. How many 2's are in 2? How many 2's are in 4? There we go. We have 1 over 2. Okay, and it says how much sugar? Well, sugar was measured in cups this time, so 1/2 of a cup. Okay, or 1/2 cups. So 1/2 of a cup. That's our answer. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on. We have example number 4. Kaylee, by the way, I hope you realize these are on the worksheet. If you didn't put them on there, you messed up. Kaylee made 1/2 of a pound of trail mix. If she puts 1/6 of a pound into each bag, how many bags can Kaylee fill? Now, this one is tricky. Okay, 1/6. You see that word of though, right? We have 1/2 of a pound of trail mix. If she puts 1/6 of a pound into each bag, how many bags can Kaylee fill? Remember I told you that of and in each can be a trick, okay? Here's a specific example. This one does have into each, which indicates division, okay? Because she's splitting it up into each bag. He wants to know how many bags she can fill. We're not multiplying this time. She has 1/2, and she's splitting it into a 6 pound into each. So what you actually are doing in this one is division, and this is where you have to be really careful. I told you there's a couple words that you got to be careful with. So we're going to go ahead and divide. You got to keep, change, and flip. So it's going to be 1/2 times 6 over 1. We're going to go ahead and pre-simplify. 2 and 6 have a common factor of 2. How many 2's are in 2? 1. How many 2's are in 6? It's 3. There's nothing else that can work. We're going to get 3 over 1, which equals 3. So how many bags can Kaylee fill? Well, she can fill 3 bags. Okay. Now, if I would have multiplied, I would have got a really small, tiny little fraction. And would that make sense? If I'm filling bags, probably not. So she can fill 3 bags. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one last example, one last free answer on your worksheet before you're asked to do your own. It says a cookie factory uses 1.5 bags of flour in each batch of cookies. The factory used 4.5 bags of flour yesterday. How many batches of cookies did the factory make? This question is very difficult. So they use 1.5 in each. In each. Okay? So in each indicates that we're going to be dividing, but we have to be careful. What are we dividing? Well, we're dividing how much we had and how much we used. In this particular case, we have to be careful. Okay? The factory used 4.5. That's how much they used. But the 1.5 is in each bag. Okay? So, or they use 1.5 for each batch. So here's what you have to do. You actually have to use that 4.5 first, because that's how much you started with. Okay? Because that's how much you started with, and we're going to divide by 1.5. First thing you do when you divide is you go ahead and convert those things to improper fractions, which is going to be 9 over 2 divided by 3 over 2. Grace, quit skipping steps. Yes, I'm calling you. Make sure you put them both on there. Okay, we need to go ahead and keep, change, flip. All right. So we have 9 over 2. We keep. We change our division sign to a multiplication sign, and we flip or find the reciprocal of 3 over 2, which would be 2 over 3. Then we go ahead and pre-simplify if we can, and we definitely can. 9 and 3 have a common factor of 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 3 1 time. There's also a common factor for our 2's. How many 2's are in 2? It'd be 1. How many 2's are in 2? It's 1. We're going to go ahead and multiply across, so it gives us 3 over 1, which is equal to 3. So how many batches of cookies? Remember, it says how many batches, so it is 3 batches. Okay? And that's our answer. So those are our 3. All right, those are our 5 examples. I expect you to be able to finish your worksheet. Make sure you understand that it is both sides. You're working on word problems. If you are having trouble understanding which one is which, come see Mr. Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful afternoon. Complete worksheet number 8. When you're done, hey, check it. It's on the back. Good luck.